Alright, quick little heads up. There's a little bit of spoilers in this video, obviously. I mean, we're talking about some mid to end game stuff here. So, you know, spoiler warning, you've been warned. Hello everybody, my name is Dutchy, welcome to the channel, and let's get right into this video. Alright, so this video is going to be all about the Muspelheim challenges, and also about my build that I use to defeat these challenges. I'm also going to be including the Valkyrie Queen, which is one of the hardest bosses in the game. So I'm going to give you guys a few quick tips and tricks of how to beat that boss and certain moves that you really need to avoid. On screen right now are a couple of timestamps if you want to quickly skip to a certain part of the video, so there you go. So the build I actually use for this is called the Berserker build. Now the Berserker build is basically all about high DPS damage, but also about a cooldown system because you'll be able to deal a lot more damage with your runic attack. Because once you use your runic attack, you'll be able to dish out a lot more damage for almost 20 seconds. Now the Berserker build obviously relies on the Berserker armor set. Now I will actually show you guys a quick link for a video that I already did on the Berserker build, so you guys can actually watch that if you want a full deep dive down onto it. But I'm just going to quickly go over it a little bit now. So to simplify the Berserker build, basically you can do a lot of damage every single time you use your relic, and with the cooldown system with the Berserker build as well, you will be able to get your relic back really fast. Now also with the Berserker build, you want to have a lot of Bifrost. One way of doing this as well is to actually add Bifrost to the relic that you are using. But you also want to make sure that your relic has a really good cooldown. So I use the Glaive of Dodr. I hope I pronounced that correct. Now, the Seal of Runic Storm is also something that helps you with a lot, and I mean a lot of Bifrost. This basically allows you to delete enemies really fast. And basically the way you use it is, you need to use one ability of each of your free weapons, and then it will activate. So you will deal a lot of damage with, you know, all those abilities, and then straight afterwards you will be able to pop the Runic Storm and deal even more damage. Oh, and just because I forgot in the last video, this is the location you get it from. Now this is basically the build I've been using to destroy all these challenges and also kill the Valkyrie Queen with. If you guys want a bit more of an in-depth guide on this build, just go to this video right here again. And well, you know, if you guys are enjoying this as well, by the way, why not hit that subscribe button and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's continue on with the trials. Now when you first arrive in Muspelheim, you'll actually see a chest in the middle of the arena. Now usually you have to destroy some statues or something along those lines for a chest like this, but with this one you actually need to complete the sword challenges instead. Now weapon mastery is a very simple one. You just need to kill all the enemies in a certain time limit. Now this is also very simple because you just need to basically kill these guys fast, but also most of them will have a bit of a shield on them, and the way to get rid of these shields is pretty easy. You just need to see if that has a red shield, for example. You need to use your axe against it. If it is a blue shield, you need to use your Blades of Chaos against it, and if it's a white one, you need to use your staff against it. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Now let's go on to the next one. Now Flawless is a little bit of a difficult one just because you can't take any damage, and if you do take damage the round is over and you will need to restart. For this challenge there is no timer and it's pretty easy if you just keep your distance with your spear. Now what I would like to do usually is actually stick to the entry gate and sort of fire at people from a distance like that. And when this bull actually comes up to you and tries to charge you, you basically just ult him and he won't be able to come near you. The hardest thing to actually deal with in this mission is actually the people who spawn up top because you don't notice them, and if they hit you then well you're out. Now let's go to the last one for this sword, which is Rampage. Now Rampage, you basically have to kill everyone within a certain amount of time limit, and well, it's very simple. Especially if you got my build, you'll be able just to delete these guys with plenty of time to spare. Now Ring Out is actually very simple. Now basically what you need to do is throw people over the edge and basically get a kill like that, or you can actually just delete them completely by actually out damaging the heals that they are getting. Now if you are using my build correctly, you can actually easily outdamage them and actually kill them outright, but I think it's still quite fun to actually get the kills of throwing them off the map. Now Feed the Rift is a bit more of a difficult one. You have a timer and you also have to basically kill enemies, and once those enemies are dead, they will drop a orb. Grab that orb and throw it into the rift to feed it. Now I would recommend every single time you kill an enemy to quickly grab the orb and just chuck it in as fast as possible. This way you won't lose any time and you will be able to kill people as fast as possible again. Also, these orbs do actually disappear after a while, so you do have to pick them up in a certain time limit. Now we come to health steal. Now I reckon this is probably the easiest out of all of them. Basically what this does, you will lose health constantly, but every single time you hit an enemy, you will regain health. So basically you can just spam attacks on enemies and win this one. Now, population control basically means that you need to kill things faster than they can actually spawn. So basically, if there's more than 4 enemies on the field, you will instantly lose this one. So I would recommend running with my build again and just deleting these guys as soon as they come out of the spawn door. Now we come to King of the Hill. Anyway, King of the Hill is a very simple one. Basically what you need to do, you need to stand in a circle and make sure that the enemy doesn't get into the circle. Now you can actually allow the enemy in the circle a little bit, so you have time, but as soon as the time expires, this yellow bar will be completely full and then you will lose. So basically kill things as fast as possible while they're trying to get into the circles. It's also handy to maybe push them off and actually just kill them somewhere else. So kill fuse is another very simple one. Basically, you have a certain amount of time to kill something. If you don't kill something in that amount of time, you will lose. Every time you do kill something, you get some extra time so you can kill something else. Continue this process, and basically if you get my builds, you should be able to quickly kill everything really fast anyway, so you just start killing and you'll be fine. Now at this point you should be able to open up the chest in the middle, and when you open up the chest in the middle, a sword will appear in the middle of the area where the chest was. Now this sword will actually be locked for you, but you can easily unlock it by completing some of the challenges you just did before, but you have to complete them in a certain order for you to unlock every single one of these challenges. There are a total of 6 different challenges you can actually get in the center, so in order for you to unlock them, I'm quickly going to show you guys how. So in order for you to actually unlock the sword in the middle, the only thing you have to do is complete 2 of the previous challenges. Now there are 6 ways of actually doing this, and there are 6 different types of challenges that you can undertake. Now if you want to unlock every single one of these challenges, you just have to complete the previous challenges in a certain order. Now just to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to call these challenges 1, 2 and 3. Now you have to complete these swords in different order. It doesn't matter what challenge you pick out of them, as long as you completed one of the challenges on them. Now you want to start off with number 1. And after you completed the challenge on number 1, you need to go over to number 2. Complete that challenge as well, and you will have unlocked the center sword. So after you completed that, you want to go for a different combo that unlocks a different challenge in the center. So that's when you want to go for number 1, and then you go to number 3. And then again, this will unlock a different challenge for you. There are a total of 6, and basically you just keep doing this until you've beaten all 6 of them. Now let's talk about the challenges. One of the challenges is called Shield Breaker. Now with this one you have to kill the enemy grunts before you can actually kill the boss. Now once you killed the grunts, you can deal heavy damage to the actual boss, but do be warned because there's actually a second boss that pops in halfway through this fight as well. The enemy grunts aren't anything big, so you should be able to take care of them pretty easily and then just go in for the kill on the big boss. Now Boss Rush is a challenge that basically requires you to defeat several bosses in a row. Now there will be a total of 5 bosses. If you do feel a little bit too overwhelmed, I would recommend getting one of those resurrection stones, especially the berserker ones, so you can actually go berserk and gain some health back at the same time. All of these bosses are bosses that you have fought throughout the world already, so you should be able to deal with them pretty easily. Now we come to the Endurance Challenge. Now the Endurance Challenge is a very simple one, but can overwhelm you a little bit. Now basically what the Endurance Challenge is, you need to defeat 99 enemies in one go. This challenge actually isn't as hard as you might think, because most of the enemies aren't actually really top tier enemies anyway. But also they will be dropping health stones and rage stones all across the field. If you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, one of the best things you can do is pull out your spear and back up and just start hitting them from a distance for a little while. Until you see some green health stones, and then you can quickly get those and get back into the fight properly. Or if your rage meter is filled enough, you can always use that and gain some health back quickly like that. Now we come to the Ring of Fire Challenge. Now the Ring of Fire Challenge isn't really too hard. The only thing I would say really watch out for is on your right, there's actually a poison pillar. Make sure to throw your axe at it when the circle moves towards it. And yes, the circle actually moves around a lot. For the rest, it's mostly normal enemies. I recommend using the spear for this one mostly, just because, well, you have a little bit of range and a lot of the time the enemies are out of the circle. Now we move on to the Onslaught challenge. Now this challenge you basically have to survive a certain amount of time. There's also a ring of fire around you this time, but this time it doesn't actually move around. So you can easily stay in the circle. Now just like before, I would recommend using your spear a lot at the beginning, and when enemies get close you can switch off to some other weapons if you like. Also, just saying, enemies will keep spawning, so it's not a good idea to not kill them if you think that enemies won't spawn if you leave some of them alive. And one more thing, there's actually a troll in the middle of the fight, which you can actually take control of when you stun him, and basically you can walk in the lava and everything you want and just deal some heavy damage with it. So, you know, if there are a lot of people that are outside the ring, use the troll. Now we come up to the Phantom Challenge. Now with the Phantom Challenge, the only thing you basically need to do is defeat one boss. But the thing is, this boss will be completely immune until you actually destroy his pillars. In order for you to destroy these pillars, by the way, you do need to actually stun the boss. Once the boss is stunned, these pillars will become active. Then you can quickly run up to them and destroy them. Actually, 2 of them you can't run up to, you actually need to throw stuff at them, like your axe or the spear. Every time you actually do destroy one of these pillars, people will spawn. I would highly recommend killing these guys before you actually destroy the next pillar, because more people will spawn every single time. If you see the orb glow, you'll be able to actually hit it and it will go down for a small period of time. What I would recommend is throwing spears at it for a long time, and then as soon as you see the head glow, you just press triangle and it will instantly hit, meaning that you will never miss. Alright, now we get over to the Valkyrie Queen. Now the Valkyrie Queen is really strong, but I actually personally reckon that the Berserker King is actually probably a little bit stronger. But anyway, let's start off with the most crucial tip out of all of them, and this can literally delete you if you do not follow this tip. Every single time you hear the Valkyrie Queen yell out "for Asgard," this means that she's about to jump straight up into the air and pound straight back down onto you. She will easily delete at least half of your HP when she does this, because you will not be able to tap circle fast enough. Now you'll need to dodge this perfectly. The maximum amount of time she can actually do this in a row is 3 times. Unless you get stunned out of it with an ability, but I would highly recommend not actually doing that and just focusing on dodging. Now at the start of the Valkyrie Queen fight, you want to make sure you do as much damage as possible, because she will always do the exact same thing. I recommend when she's doing this, go for a full-on combo with her. I usually like to freeze my axe first, go into battle with the axe, then straight away use my runic attacks on her. Push her up against the corner and make sure she can't really move too much. Try throw everything you got at her as fast as you can. And try keep her stunned for the whole period. At one point you'll start hearing her say "rise, rise." When she does this, get Freya to fire a sonic arrow at her and it will stun her for a short duration. Now when she yells "bathe in fire," this is basically the exact same thing, except it's with the sigil arrows. Meaning you can get a couple of more hits in when you stun her. One thing I actually realized with the Seal of Runic Storm is that it actually hits her slightly and is actually able to knock her out of certain abilities. For example, usually you would have to shield bash someone that has a blue circle around them, but if you have the Seal of Runic Storm, you actually don't have to do that. I still do it, to be honest, just to be safe, plus the shield does a little bit of extra damage, but Seal of Runic Storm can really save your life sometime. This is probably the most important tip out of all of them. Carry a revive stone with you, especially the Berserker one, because you will probably die. And that's especially frustrating when she is so low on health. So if you use the Berserker one, you can actually regain all of your Spartan Rage immediately. Meaning that if she's low, like over here, you can kill her very easily. Well, with those tips and the build that I'm using, you should be able to kill the Valkyrie Queen in just a couple of goes. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, why not leave a like, why not subscribe, and do all of that kind of stuff. And well, I'll catch you guys later. Bye!